Which one?
All right. So I totally forgot to hit record on all that in the video, but I've been recording audio the whole time.
Oh,
So,
okay.
well, at least yeah. So, I mean, that's a stupid me. Again, it's all these buttons you have to push, but at least I've been
Technology.
recording local, and then we've been
Well, you're recording the most important part,
Yeah.
which is this part right here,
Right.
where we're going to do this trivia competition.
Right.
Yeah. Although my dogs are a little mad that they got camera time that was not captured, and now they're both they're both
The dogs
sleeping.
are pissed and demanding royalties.
I'm actually happy you did not get my cat's butt on video.
There you go. Yes, yeah. So if you're listening to the audio part, or if you're watching this, you'll have to listen to the audio of the podcast, because you're going to miss the references that we're going to make about that we didn't actually record on video. So, but so anyway, so yeah, so like Eric said, we've got here to get to the main event. Here is we were chatting, like I said, when I was on their podcast, and I said, oh man, I said I got a friend. We also went to graduate in '92. So there's a lot of similarities. We grew up listening to music and sit in the back of the classroom doodling and on the notepads and so forth. And I said, we gotta do a trivia. We gotta do some trivia here. Let's see if I, if we've got what it takes. I told, Craig, I says, Erika and Tina, they know their stuff. And
well, we'll see. I mean, you can get pretty deep into some of these questions, and so it depends on how tough your questions are. But Tina and I actually, we just read this book, Nothing But a Good Time. I don't know if you guys have ever read it.
Oral history.
So I feel like I'm recently brushed up on all that I need to know.
So I shouldn't have picked all nothing but poison trivia questions then, right? Yeah, I knew better to stay away from Motley Crue and Nikki Sixx, right? Because Erika knows everything.
My favorites.
Yeah, Erika knows stuff about Nikki Sixx, and Nikki Sixx doesn't even know about.
True.
Because he doesn't remember it.
Accurate.
All right, so I don't know. So I guess I don't know. We'll I'll just say it is that this is my show, so I'll say that we'll go first. So we'll go with the first question here. So I'll go ahead and right out the gate. It is actually question number one from the East Coast team here. It is a Motley Crue reference. So let's see if you get this. Okay. All right. So what type of car was Vince Neil driving when he got into an accident that killed Razzle?
I want to, Eric. I think I
have two in my brain right now, and I'm not sure which one it is.
I want to say it's a Ferrari.
That's what I want to say.
It's close. It's
was it a Lamborghini?
No.
Oh,
it's a car that is very similar to a supercar like that, and I'll give you a hint. There was a thrash metal band name.
I know it, Paul. Yeah.
All right. So
thrash metal is not really our jam.
No, I know, but you'll know.
There were no hot guys playing thrash metal.
Remember, send all your questions and mail to Erika at if you're a thrash metal guy, listen to this.
Yeah, sorry, thrash.
Actually, Paul, I know the answer because
it's us. It's us.
Yeah,
us. Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is your clue helped me. Well, no, your clue helped me, but also I kind of knew this answer because when I was a kid, my dad worked at a tire shop, and he actually was in the shop when the guys from Vanilla Fudge came in to buy tires for this type of car.
Tina, I still don't know it.
Not helpful.
They were big in the 90s, right? So and again, I know,
and actually they're on a quote unquote reunion tour right now
with two of the four original members, because two of the members are brothers that died. One died on stage.
Well, didn't die on stage. He was murdered on stage.
Okay, yes, he was murdered on stage. All right.
Are we talking about Dimebag?
Oh, you're getting closer.
Okay.
What band is it?
Pantera.
There you go. Yes.
That's not the name of the car. That's the car?
Okay.
Yes. It was actually the name of the car.
We clearly don't know about thrash metal or cars.
Now, Paul, do you remember if they actually used that car, like that type of car, in the dirt on Netflix?
I don't remember. if they used I would assume they had to have, but I'd have to go back and watch that. But again, I have to get through the opening scene of The Dirt where it's that party. It's like, wow, talk about an opening of a movie. Like, okay,
it leaves nothing to the imagination.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, this is definitely not a movie that I can watch when the kids are just at least in the other room.
No.
We didn't share answers, so I actually thought, ladies, that I thought it was a Ferrari as well.
Yeah, that was the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah.
So we did not get that point. And now I'm starting to wonder if our questions are going to be much easier. We'll see.
I just assumed that we were all going to get every question wrong because we were trying to just like stump each other.
Trying to like best each other.
All right. So you got your guys' turn.
Tina, you go. You throw out a question.
Okay, I'm going to throw out this question. Frontman Kelly Hansen of 80s metal band Hurricane went on to sing for which great classic rock band still touring today?
You got it,
Paul? I got it. I know why Erika cut us off now. He's singing for Foreigner.
Ding, 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 ding.
Okay.
So
one for the East Coasters.
Yeah. And by the way, Kelly Hansen is an amazing vocalist, and Foreigner is going on their farewell tour in 2023. So, make sure to get there.
And he's also he's been with Foreigner for long enough now to actually
25 years.
Be considered legit. Like, you know what? I think we might have seen Hurricane, Paul. I don't know if it was after you moved, but I kind of feel like me and my brother saw them. Although there was another band called Hurricane Alice as well. I might be thinking of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we love Hurricane. We talk about Hurricane quite a bit on the podcast because we're such big fans of Kelly Hansen. And actually, I love Kelly Hansen with Foreigner. I think he brings a lot to that puzzle. And so I've booked them before. We didn't talk about this, but I actually booked shows and in the concert business. But I've booked Foreigner before, and I think they're phenomenal live. And I love Kelly's voice. It's still as strong as ever. He's a great vocalist.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And also his last name is the same as mine. We could be related. You don't know.
Is he's got the E, not the O?
Oh, he's got the E, yeah.
Oh, so you just tell people you're married to him.
I should.
That is so wild that we ended up talking about Foreigner, and I don't even remember how we got there.
I know, random.
It's Paul's fault because he started talking about Jeff Pilson.
That's right.
That's right.
So, wait, now you did remember how we got there. So, all right. Anyway, all right, Craig. So you're up here. So your first question.
Okay, give us a question.
Okay. So, what state did Skid Row record their self-titled debut album in?
I feel like this is a trick question.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any multiple choice?
I feel like they put them in the middle of the country, like in Wisconsin. At a golf course. Was it Wisconsin?
Wisconsin.
You got it.
Whoa! Yeah.
Yes, we got it, Tina. Fist bump.
It was a golf course. It was like a golf course, right? Like it was some weird kind of situation.
Yeah, I really thought I was going to stump you guys with that. Excellent.
Shit, you stumped me.
Yeah.
Okay, so one for the Midwestern.
There you go. All right. So
we need to go harder.
I know, Tina. I think our questions are way too easy.
Is it tied up?
I don't know. You got that question pretty quick. I mean,
it's tied up now.
We didn't get the Pantera. We thought it was Pantera.
All right. So
so I'll throw one out now. Which two rockers comprise the band name Guns N' Roses?
Okay. Paul, you want to take this one?
All right. So Tracy Guns and Axl Rose.
Okay. Yes. Very good. East Coasters won.
I got a cool Tracy Guns story. So when they reunited within the last couple of years, because there were the dueling LA Guns for a while.
They're still
but when Tracy and Phil Lewis got back together, they played a club here in Vegas called Count's Vamped, and you probably know the Count.
They were just there.
Yeah,
they just did a couple more shows there.
Yeah, I saw them probably 2 years ago there, and it was the loudest stage guitar I've ever heard. I had hearing protection, and when I got home, my ears were still ringing.
Wow.
Tracy was like, I'm just going to turn my stage volume up as loud as possible. I was in awe. Like, I was just like, wow. Like you probably heard it on the strip. Like,
yeah, that's on brand. We interviewed Tracy on our podcast this past year. He's actually a really great guy. It was a fun interview.
Cool. I'm gonna have to go in your archives and
and
check some of your episodes out. It's your turn, Paul, right? So we're 2 points for us, 1 point for you guys, right?
Yes.
All right. So you guys should get this one. Okay. So what year did MTV launch?
Oh, Jesus.
It was 81 or 82.
All right. Yep, 81. There you go.
Yeah.
You got it.
Okay, you said 81 first, so
it actually.
I mean, all of us were young then.
We
were like in first or second grade.
All right. So for bonus points, what was the first video?
Video killed the radio
star.
So they launched on and I'm gonna say it because I want you to remember now. So they launched on August 1st, 1981.
August 1st, 1981.
Okay.
Yeah, my birthday.
So
I expect
Happy birthday. What was the second video played?
Yeah, you got me.
It was actually Pat Benatar, You Better Run. And because Neil Girardo played on that, it was the first guitar to play on MTV. Because it was a guitar in Video Radio Star.
I remember
they just got inducted too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Super cool. And Rod Stewart was third, just saying.
Okay.
That's all I know. Just the
and fourth was.
All right, so it's
Tina, you ask a question. You ask a question next.
Yeah, it's 2-2.
Okay. What documentary on 80s metal was directed by the same person who directed the movie Wayne's World? Name both the documentary and the director.
Okay, I got this one, Paul.
Wayne Isham?
No. I said I got this one, Paul.
Oh, sorry. I heard my name.
It's Penelope Spheris is the director, and the movie the documentary is The Decline of Western Civilization Part 2, The Metal Years.
The Metal Years. Very good, Craig. Great documentary.
Oh yeah, it's
great documentary.
That's got the classic Chris Holmes in the pool
with his mom.
Yeah, so cringe movie.
Wait, did you guys interview the girl, the Miss Club girl?
Miss Gazzari? No, we can't find her.
Oh.
Cindy Bermisa?
Isn't she on Instagram? She's on Instagram though.
She is?
She's on social. She's on social.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we'll
you gotta listen to that.
Maybe she can be. Yeah, she should be our next interview, Tina.
Oh, that would
do it.
Where are they now?
Are they okay?
Yeah.
All right, so that's 3 for us.
Yep. Okay. Another one for us.
Okay, so it's my turn, right, Paul?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Rudy Sarzo famously played bass for Whitesnake. Name 2 other artists he has played bass for.
Well, there's Quiet Riot.
Mm-hmm.
And did he play for Ozzy?
Yes, he did. Ding, 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 ding.
Very good. Excellent work.
And he's currently playing with, he's back with Quiet Riot. And prior to that, he was playing with, was it Grand Funk Railroad, I want to say?
Wow. I love Rudy Sarzo.
He's great.
Yeah, we love Sarzos.
Yeah, and we have 2 Yorkies here, and he actually is pretty active in a Yorkie rescue out of California.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So cute.
Yeah. No, he's great. All right. Wow.
Okay, so I'm going to do a follow-up question, and it's kind of similar to the one that you just gave us. Name 2 bands of which iconic guitarist Slash has been a member.
Okay. Are we counting Guns N' Roses?
I guess you can, although we should have taken that one away.
I know, right?
Yeah. Paul, do you have an answer?
Why am I drawing a blank? Go ahead. I know he's with the one with Scott Weiland.
Velvet Revolver.
Yep.
And then I also don't know if you want to count. If you want me to earn it, Erika, we can say Slash's Snake Pit.
There we go. Very good. You fully earned it.
Good question.
All right. So is it my turn?
Yep.
All right, so here we got a little bit of a karaoke here, so I want to hear your best. You get ready? Y'all ready?
Ready.
Right, I want to hear your best Sebastian Bach. Okay, so finish this line from Skid Row's 18 in Life. Tequila in his heartbeat, his veins burned.
Gasoline.
There you go. There you go.
Motor running.
Well, no, I said I had to hear the singing part of it. Can we hear the actual?
Erika, you go ahead and answer that one.
Tina's the one that karaoke's, not me.
In the backyard.
All right. So there we go. So all right. So now, was it 3-3?
No, I think 4. It's 4.
You guys have 4 and we have 3.
Okay.
Yeah, or something.
Okay. All right.
We're one behind you because we got the first one wrong.
Yeah. Okay. What is the band that never got signed but launched the careers of several 80s metal rockers, including Nikki Sixx and Izzy Stradlin?
Oh, goodness. Wow, Tina, you're really
No, Craig, it's like the name of a country or state or something. A place. People, place,
God,
and things.
It's like on the
London?
Yes.
Very good.
Nice pull, Paul.
Nice save.
I think I only remember that from reading the Dirt.
That was an excellent question, and that is actually a really cool bit of trivia as well.
Mm-hmm. They were featured heavily in the Decline of Western Civilization too, as well. It was just sort of like this launching pad, and they lived in that camper and just kind of rolled around town and had women buy them groceries. But yes, London.
Can you imagine being the band and it's like, hey, when is it my turn to get promoted up to the next level?
Yeah.
That's there was
London. The sad, tragic story of London.
I had because I had reading the Dirt was just, that book and their perspectives and each of their, it was interesting, each of the, different chapters about each of their parts of their life and telling their story. And obviously, how do you turn that book, right? And they did, into a movie about it, which is, it's almost insane. It's like, I was like, yeah, if they ever make this a movie, it's going to have to be like NC-17 or it's definitely not something that's,
right.
And thank God for things like Netflix. But just him talking about growing up, right? Nikki Sixx and, all that, I don't know. It was always, I really think about, you trade some of the things in how your upbringing, if for things that people that had struggles and a terrible upbringing to be a rock star or be someone famous, right? And that's tough, right? Obviously he had a very bad upbringing and you're being raised by his grandparents, right? I think that's what it was.
Yeah, for a large portion of his life. Yeah.
All kinds of relatives and
Yeah. So another book, is I picked up was Steven Adler's book. That's an actually an interesting book. Obviously being a drummer and kind of reading through his things, and I'm like, and somebody made a reference about talking about Slash, and maybe it was, I think your guys is one of the recent episodes was talking about how Slash seems like a pretty cool guy, very almost no bad bone in his body, and. But also, it seemed like he never really stuck up for Steven, as good as friends as they were. The shit he went through with Axl and other stuff, and again, he gets kicked out of band for doing heroin, but the whole damn band's doing that was the irony, right?
Yeah.
But,
well, Steven had a lot of stuff going on at that point. The one thing you can say about Slash is Slash might have been indulging in whatever he indulged in, but he was still able to sort of perform. And I hate to say this, but like Guns N' Roses definitely outgrew Steven Adler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Guns N' Roses outgrew everybody but Axl.
Yeah, that's definitely one side of it. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's wild because we all remember Appetite and like when Guns N' Roses came out and they were like considered a band, whereas now it really is just, and even like by the time of Use Your Illusion, Axl had really, sort of asserted his control there. I think about I think about Guns N' Roses a lot, and like how it's been 30 years since Use Your Illusion, and that was their last big statement. And I mean, like they were sort of in the grand scheme of rock and roll, they were there for a very short period of time, but they're still selling out stadiums and arenas. I mean, it's
worldwide.
It's wild.
Their staying power was short in that sense of how big and known they, and again, it's all the other things that went into the allure and the mystery of that band, right? All the craziness and that that's a good point.
You can only get so big before before it gets too big. Some cool Guns N' Roses trivia. I don't know, Paul, you did you go see Guns N' Roses and Metallica Faith No More at Giant Stadium with us?
Nope, I think it was already in Florida by then.
All right. That, if you want some Craig Cohen trivia, that was the first concert I ever got stoned at.
Oh,
okay.
It was a communal joint. It was the true Puff Puff Pass experience.
Oh, boy. Good thing COVID wasn't around.
Wow, that's surprising. That's something I didn't know. So
God knows who I shared a joint with that day.
You're right.
Hey, Paul, you moved to Florida and shit just went downhill fast.
I know, that's it. It's all my fault that his life went to.
Well, the even crazier thing is, like, now, I don't know in your individual states, but I know here in California, like, I can walk to a dispensary down the street and get some like good, like, medical grade cannabis, and I actually take it like in an aspirin now, and it's just like, I take it before I go to bed and I sleep like a baby. But I guess we'll save that for the cannabis episode, Paul.
That's a different episode of this podcast.
I know I'm always, messaging the girls on, social media. I'm like, hey, this would be a great idea for an episode. Or how about this? They go drugs and rock and roll. There you go. So
yeah, perfect.
Is it our turn?
Yes. I just asked the question about, wait, did I? About London.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Did you ask the last question from our team, Paul?
So I read.
Oh no, you asked the Skid Row lyric, right?
Yeah. So you're right. Yeah.
Okay. So Scott Travis has been the drummer for Judas Priest since 1989. Who did he replace?
Now, to be fair, Craig, this isn't really in their swim lane.
It's metal.
In Craig's defense, we literally just read Rob Halford's memoir, and neither one of us are going to be able to pull this. I can't pull this name out.
Oh, I don't think I can pull that one out.
Did he have a nickname?
No, just a very run-of-the-mill name.
Ah, shit.
Yeah, I know they had revolving drummer syndrome.
He was their drummer prior to Scott Travis. This guy was their drummer. Like, he played with the band in the the US Festival. Mm-hmm. He looked like somebody's dad, which was funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know the name.
I can't know the name.
Wow. Well, okay. Well, it was Dave Holland.
Okay. Still don't know the name.
That did not live in my brain. It did not get deposited forever.
No.
Oh wow. So how was Rob's book? I've been thinking about reading that.
It was great.
Yeah.
Great. And we don't really talk about Judas Priest on the podcast at all. Because we really do focus more on like that almost kind of like glam era of 80s metal. And certainly Judas Priest wasn't really that. They were, they'd been around for years by the time this whole scene showed up. But that book really turned me into a Judas Priest fan. Like, I thought Rob Halford's telling of his story was great. I thought he wrote really well and told his story really well. I actually listened to a chunk of it on audiobook, which he told himself. And I just thought it was fascinating. I kind of became a Judas Priest fan after reading that book.
Awesome. I actually became a legitimate Priest fan during COVID. I discovered them while just looking for stuff to do while I was furloughed at work. And that's when I was like, you know what, I'm going to like really get into their catalog and like really see what they're about, because it's funny, as a metalhead, at least in my experience as like a metalhead, Judas Priest were always they always seemed like the, I don't know if like Party City is the right word, but like they always just seemed like too leathery and like, and now you know why like Halford leaned into it as heavily as he did. And I actually think that like Priest gave a lot of glam metal bands like a license to do what they did. But at the time I never really and also like I think the time I was really getting to music on my own is like during the turbo era, where like I'm really into like keyboards and synths now, but like back then I was like, come on guys, like turbo metal? Yeah. But I actually got the last Priest album I needed to complete like the series of remasters they did a couple of years back, where like it spells out the whole band name when you put all the CDs together.
Oh, cool.
I finally found the last one I needed. It was like completing a puzzle piece. That's wild. I'm definitely going to read that book now.
It was great.
You guys had seen obviously the Rockstar movie, right? And how it was loose or based on the whole Judas Priest, situation. Yeah. So
not to get into a whole Priest thing here, but I listened back to back 2 times yesterday. Actually, I was in the car doing Christmas shopping, so I was driving all around the valley here, and I listened to Painkiller twice. And it's amazing to me that Painkiller is like sort of this, it's a really, really good heavy metal album, but that like Halford left after that. It blows my mind that like they
left on top.
They reached, well, I guess that's what it is, Paul. They reached like this peak, and then Halford was like, okay, I'm out of here. Like,
it's interesting the way he tells the story of that, because it almost was a misunderstanding that he was too embarrassed to go back and clear up. So when he said, I'm going to go do some solo stuff, he didn't mean I'm leaving the band. He meant, while we're not doing this, I'm going to do some other things. And it kind of got away from him. And then a publicist announced he'd left the band and all this kind of stuff. And he was sort of like, wait, I didn't mean that. But was too embarrassed and went years and years and years longing to be back with the band, but didn't know how to approach the guys and talk about it. So it's an interesting part of their story.
Oh, wow. Did you all watch the Judas Priest Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction?
I missed that chunk of it. I have not seen it yet.
Oh my God, it's so good, because it's so funny that nowadays with band politics and replacement members, it's always like getting all the people on stage together is always like really, really difficult. So like I think back to like some of my favorite Hall of Fame induction moments are like when Yes got inducted, and there was like 2 versions of Yes at that point, but they all got back on stage. Geddy Lee played bass since Chris Squire had passed away. And with Judas Priest, KK Downing, who's no longer in the band, and he left under very, very bad terms, KK Downing was on stage standing right next to his replacement, Richie Faulkner. And to see the 2 of them on stage together playing, and Glenn Tipton on the other sides of the stage battling through Parkinson's to play his parts, I mean, it's worth checking out. It's always amazing to see like bands they get beyond like the politics, and like all bullshit aside, it was like for that 10 minutes they were able to do what they did. And like,
yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I mean, as a Kiss fan, it was really hard for like to see them get inducted into the Hall of Fame, and like everybody's ego got in the way of them suiting up and playing on stage together.
Yeah, I mean, even Bon Jovi, even John and Richie reunited for that. It's important that's the whole reason you're being honored, is that core group. If you were a part of that, you were a part of this thing, this magical thing, right? So
I think and even like Guns N' Roses, when they were inducted, Adler came back on, and and Sorum was with them for obviously the big Use Your Illusion stuff. And it's good to see. I mean, unfortunately, one of the bands we just talked about was Skid Row, and everyone keeps calling for them. And I just saw the announced, because again, like we said, right, Tina, it was local radio. Local radio is not going to let me know that Skid Row is coming to Fort Lauderdale next year in March. But it was, thank God, I had like signed up for some ticket thing or whatever alert that I found out. I was like, oh, okay. I said, well, I'm going to reach out to them and I'm going to try to get them on the show. And again, play up the whole, hey, hey, remember me thing or whatever. But that's another band. It's like, it just runs too deep to say, can you put things aside? Everybody wants you to get back together.
Yeah.
And that's got to be the most frustrating thing, though, Paul, because like at this point, it's been almost 30 years since Sebastian Bach has sang.
And I know that they don't want it, right? They don't want it for the money, but at the same time,
and Skid Row's new singer is amazing, Erika.
He is.
Oh God, incredible.
And so you don't want to disrupt that new partnership either. Just for the sake of saying the original lineups back together, kind of thing, right? I mean, same with Rat, same with Great White, same with LA Guns. There's been a split on a lot of these bands.
Right. And they'd have to get, well, again, if you're going to go all in, you'd have to, if you're going to go all the way to extent to somehow make it work with Sebastian and the guys, the 3 core guys, you'd have to get Rob back, which I don't think Rob's, has any interest. I don't know, but Rob's kind of been doing his own business thing. I did look into what Rob's doing, but
he still plays though, because he replaced what was that band 4 by Fate? It's like 2 of the guys from Ace Frehley's band and the drummer. The drummer died and Rob replaced him on a tour, I guess. I don't remember who the drummer was though. But either way, that would have been a good trivia question.
Nobody was really.
All right, so I guess it's y'all's turn here. So, all right.
Is it my turn?
Yep.
I think it's your turn, Erika.
Okay. I feel like this one should be pretty easy. Which famous Hollywood club hosted a weekly dance contest for women on the Strip and also crowned an annual winner, like Cindy Burmese or Burmisa? What the hell was her name?
Cindy Burmisa.
Cindy Burmisa.
I have a guess, Paul, if you don't know the answer.
I'm drawing a blank on what it was again, but we just talked about.
Is it the Whiskey A Go-Go?
No.
Oh, is it the Viper Room?
No.
Oh.
It's Gazzari's.
Oh wow, okay.
And that was in the video you made reference to.
Yeah, so now we're tied.
Yeah, and you guys were worried about easy questions.
Yeah, I would have gotten that wrong. See, I
feel like the ones that are left are pretty damn easy. So,
and I thought that was right. I thought he just owned the whiskey. Maybe I didn't pay attention enough, but okay. So
no, he did not. No,
Bill Gazzari had his own thing going, and in Decline Western Civilization, they show a lot about that dance contest, and the winner of that year was Cindy Burmisa, and you might remember she was pretty drunk and said she wanted to continue on with her actressing. That's what she said when they asked her what was next for her. And then we just learned something really funny after reading this Nothing But a Good Time, this history of this genre, is that Christina Applegate saw that and thought it was so hilarious that she modeled her character on Married with Children after Cindy Burmisa.
Oh, wow.
That's hilarious.
No, that's some real good trivia.
Yeah. I've actually been looking for an excuse to rewatch that movie because it's been probably over a decade since I watched it. So now I definitely have a reason to watch it.
You don't need an excuse. I'll literally watch it for no reason at all.
That's it. We're gonna have a Patreon watch party here. So
there we go. Love it. Perfect.
We all got to somehow make money off these podcasts, right? Somehow. All right. So I don't know. Was it you or was it me, Craig?
I think it's your turn, Paul.
Is it mine?
To ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What band were Dana Strum and Mark Slaughter in before Slaughter?
Vinnie Vincent Invasion.
Oh, boom.
Yes.
All right. Uh-oh, man, it's getting good. It's coming down to the wire.
Yeah, we're evenly matched. Can you imagine being the namesake of a band and getting kicked out and the record deal goes with the guys that kicked you out? Like,
yeah. Yeah, they didn't fare too badly in that whole debacle.
All right.
Okay. And Dana Strum's got a side gig with Vince Neil now. When Vince Neil's not doing Motley Crue.
Well, interestingly enough, Dana Strum has kind of like moved into the business side of the industry. So he manages, right? Yeah, he like manages bands and has like different artists that he represents. So yeah, he's more of like a business guy now, but still playing with these random bands, Slaughter or what have you on the side. So yeah.
Oh, wow.
Very cool. All right. So
Gina.
Okay. Which 80s metal band penned epic 80s metal ballads like I Saw Red and Heaven?
Okay. You know this one, Paul?
Yep.
Okay, go for it.
All right. So I think somebody's got a warrant for an arrest warrant.
Ding, ding, ding.
My favorite 80s metal ballad band of all time is Warrant. I'm a huge fan.
And we saw that was one. No, I don't think you went to this one, Craig. I went with your brother and his buddy, and it was in up there in the Meadowlands. Poison, Poison Warrant, and maybe Trickster. I can't remember who the
Yes,
was.
I think they were on tour together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Trickster was from North Jersey, and actually, I saw Trickster when they opened for Kiss.
Yes, yep, Firehouse, and right, yep,
yeah.
So I interviewed PJ Farley on our podcast.
That's right. They just had, really? Yeah,
from Trickster, and talked about that package that you just mentioned, because we saw that same package in Sioux City. So yeah.
I wonder why I didn't go to that, Paul.
It was like on a Sunday, I think. There was something that was odd that I remember.
It was a school night, and I couldn't stay up late.
Or maybe. I don't know.
Parents said no.
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild.
Only one son. Only one son's allowed out of the
house. All right.
All right, Craig, it's your turn.
Okay. Staying. It seems like I have a bunch of bass player questions. So, staying in that lane. Name the bass player and co-founder of the band Queensryche.
Oh, I do not know anybody's name in Queensryche except for Jeff Tate.
I'm literally same. Like, I only know Jeff Tate's name. Okay. I did not know anyone else in that band.
All right. He's still a member, so it's pretty wild. Paul, do you know it?
Is it DeGarmo?
No, he was one of the two guitar players.
All right, so Rockenfeld was the drummer.
The drummer. He was the other co-founder of the band. It was co-founded by Rockenfeld and Eddie Jackson.
Yeah, I'm not.
The only Eddie Jackson I know is the one on Food Network. He's an African-American gentleman that used to play in the NFL, and he is amazing in the kitchen.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I do not know that Eddie Jackson.
That name doesn't even jog any kind of memory for me.
No. He definitely was not in the life hat, Tina.
It's very, yeah. All right.
Okay, well, now you guys are ahead again. Tina, is it your turn to ask? Or is it my turn? It's my turn, right?
I think it's your turn, yeah.
Okay. Name the famous nightclub and restaurant duo on the Sunset Strip where bands played and then ate and partied.
So that was the Whiskey A Go-Go.
You got half of it, right?
So there's two answers. So the club where they played and then the restaurant where they ate.
Was it Musso and Frank's?
No. That's a great restaurant, though.
Paul, do you have a guess?
I have one. I know this now.
Oh.
It was the Rainbow, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. The Rainbow.
Goodness. Yeah. I just had a visual of Lemmy sitting like in a booth being interviewed there.
Short shorts.
Absolutely.
And then I remembered that's where Rainbow, I think, got the name for the band Rainbow came from.
Could be.
I think so.
Have you been, Craig? Have you been there? Have you been to those clubs?
No, actually, I've only been to like Hollywood. Like that's technically Hollywood, right, Tina?
Yeah.
I've only been to Hollywood once. And I was there actually when I was still living in Jersey. I came to Anaheim for a work convention, and I actually played hooky one afternoon, and we drove out to LA, saw a movie at the Chinese Theater, and found like Kiss's Star on the Walk of Fame and stuff like that. But we never really found our way over. And since then, I've been to LA a bunch of times, but I've never actually been in like that section of the Strip.
Yeah, it's a pretty iconic area of the Sunset Strip, and it's still like that. Actually, you go see shows at the Whiskey, and you walk down the street to the Rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe that within the last 2 weeks, Strawberry Alarm Clock have played shows at the Whiskey, which is
wow, that's a blast from the past.
Yeah, Incense and Peppermints. Yeah,
crazy.
You're really showing your age, Craig.
We're all the same age.
It's so funny.
I'm actually pretty excited. Erika, you mentioned vinyl recently or earlier in the episode, and I've actually, my dad was like, he's at the stage in his life where he's starting to like declutter his life. So he texted me back in the spring and he's like, hey, you want some of my old records? And I was like, absolutely. So then I was like, oh, I have to buy a record player. So he sent me some records, and then I've actually, Vegas has some really good record stores. So actually, about a month ago in the $2 bin, I actually found that Strawberry Alarm Clock album. So,
nice. Very nice.
I'm like king of the cutout bins. Like, I'll go in, I'll be like, I got $8 to spend. Let's see how many albums I can come out with.
I think LA Guns is actually playing New Year's Eve at the Whiskey.
Oh wow.
It'll be a fun show.
You'll probably hear them in your house.
I know. I'll be in Palm Springs, but yeah.
I'm telling you, like, Tracy's,
you might hear him in Palm Springs.
Stage volume is so loud.
Yeah.
Paul, I think it's your turn, right?
My turn. All right, that's my last question. So number 5. Okay, so it is a Bon Jovi question. So it is a video reference question. In the video for Bad Medicine, what comedian was speaking at the beginning of the video? They happen to be all standing out in the line, waiting to get in.
I have a guess, Tina. Do you know it?
I'm not sure.
You want to phone a friend?
It's one of two.
What are you thinking? Tell me your tip.
Well, Andrew Dice Clay.
You're in the range. You're in the range of that time, that era of media.
Or was it the Sam guy?
Kinnison.
Yep,
Yes.
that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Okay. All right.
That was my guess, but I was like, was he already dead by then? And then
I know.
And I couldn't remember.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah, that whole Sam Kinison heavy metal moment with like Wild Thing and all of that. Was such a weird moment in time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
like,
if
on Hall on the ground rolling around in mud
and all those rockers that are in this, hey, show up for this video. You guys don't even have to really do anything except for party, right? You just stand around and watch. I don't know.
I almost forgot about that video.
Some of the stuff from that was like well, you've probably remember the story about how Motley Crue, they got all clean and then they went to Russia, and they, everyone else got on the plane was like the drugs and alcohol and all this stuff, and they were supposed to be there doing a benefit for like
the Moscow Peace Festival.
Yeah.
Music and Peace Festival or something.
Which was put together because Doc McGee basically got arrested for drug trafficking.
Right. And that was part of his like probation, and he set up this nonprofit and did this thing, and it was like drugs in a tube just flying over to Russia.
Flying from one country to another.
Oh my God.
Nowadays, forget it. You may stay in there a while. When I was doing the prep for the show here, that question, I went and was watching the video. So in that scene there at the beginning, Sam standing there actually is Matt's brother, who Weed went to school with. John's brother. I mean, again, that was back in the 80s, so he looks obviously little like younger, much younger than he obviously today. But his brother's standing right next to Sam in that video there while he's shooting it. So you can always go back and it's funny as we're talking about videos, Craig. The Eric and Tina were talking about some of the rat videos and some of the stuff that the cut scenes or this and that. I'm like, I got to go back and watch I think it was a scene, they did a cut scene and the guy's still up in the attic, and when they were dropping down on the.
Oh yeah, Warren DeMartini dropping down onto the dining table in Round and Round. Yeah. And
actually, Bobby Blotzer shared a story about how the editing was all fucked up in that portion of the video, and he was so pissed because he's a perfectionist. And there was some behind the scenes stuff that Bobby Blotzer shared.
Oh, that's cool.
So all right, so I
think we have one more question, right?
Well, we have two, but the first one we have two. I don't know.
No. I'm gonna this is off the cuff. This is game time.
Oh, okay.
From which great state does Kip Winger hail?
I think I know this one, Paul.
Oh no, I think I do know this one because I think I heard this on the show. There was reason, or no, I read it somewhere because of the song, or maybe he made a reference to it because of the 17th song. right, do we want to take a few minutes and huddle up here?
No, I mean I'm almost 100% I know
huddling up.
Yeah. I'm gonna get real close to the camera.
What do you think it is, Craig?
I think it's Colorado.
Yes. Kiplinger is from Denver, Colorado.
Yeah.
Yes.
The only reason I know that is because I recently discovered like I think it was like an album of like great unsigned bands or something like that used to get done. Like a radio station would like find like 12 local bands and they'd put out a record. And I don't remember the name of the band, but Kip Winger was involved with them. And I remember it came out of Colorado, and that's the only reason I knew that. Excellent question. Yeah. Also cousins of Deborah Winger, which
is that true?
Yeah, they're cousins.
Really? I did not know that.
Man.
Little known facts about Kip Winger. We're doing a Winger deep dive podcast episode here pretty quick. So these are all good things to know.
Yeah. That was the amazing thing about Winger to me is like, those guys were like super, 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 super talented.
Yeah.
And they were kind of downplayed by the glam image, but like listen to like the single, I don't know if the single version was cut, but like Headed for a Heartbreak. Like there's this ridiculous breakdown in the middle of it where they're just like jamming. Yeah. I mean, those guys all had chops. Like Reb Beach is like, just like a monster. And like Kip is like an all-purpose, like, know,
so good
bass player, guitar player, singer, songwriter, like
composer, dancer.
I mean, yeah, it's so funny that like on Beavis and Butthead they like made fun of like Winger, like Stewart wore the Winger shirt, but I'm like, those dudes kicked ass. Like,
yeah, they were very talented.
And to think that you take the band that most people end up learning about, Kip Winger was in his own band, that he was in Alice Cooper.
Yeah, during the Kane Roberts era. Yeah, like,
and so it's like, okay, this guy with the great teeth and that awesome 5 o'clock shadow that the girls really liked.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, we talked about that.
That's right.
Super white teeth.
You gotta listen to
always 5 o'clock shadow.
Even guys, he was a good looking even for guy can admit it. Yeah, there was. Yeah, you got to listen to that episode, Craig, as they had ranked their bass players in no particular order, right? It was
correct. We didn't necessarily say we had a number one favorite, although I do, of course, have a number one favorite. It's Nikki Sixx, but we didn't rank them. They were just our favorites. Yeah. Our favorites.
And well, I learned today without listening to the episode that Eddie Jackson is not on that list.
Eddie Jackson was not on the list. I actually already forgot which band he was with. He's right.
No, Greg, he just missed the cut. Just missed it.
Yeah.
So I think this is our final question, right, Paul?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, so it's your question.
All right. What artists from the 60s and 70s co-wrote songs on the 1981 Kiss album, The Elder?
Jesus.
Artists from the 60s and 70s wrote on the Kiss album.
It's Kiss's concept album. Which was a huge failure, but
now would you guys consider Kiss in your wheelhouse of the bands?
We talk about them, but we talk about them more in terms of their resurgence because of course Kiss has a long history and they were around way before 80s metal ever showed up on the scene, but then they had a resurgence during that 80s metal time frame.
Crazy Nights was like a direct response to Bon Jovi.
Right. Yeah.
And let's put
Tina, I don't know that I have any guesses whatsoever.
I'm gonna guess Engelbert Humperdinck.
No.
What about Meatloaf? Is Meatloaf the answer?
Is it Desmond Child?
No, it was actually it's very like people still shake their head about this. It was Lou Reed.
Oh wow.
Oh, Velvet Underground. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's debate about how much involvement he had. Some people say he suggested song titles. Other people say he wrote a verse here or there, but
interesting. Lou Reed.
Yeah. If you listen to A World Without Heroes, I believe that's one of the co-writes.
Interesting.
Kind of guessing.
We do have one question left. We do have one left on our list, so I'm going to give it to you guys because you guys are already ahead of us. But who played lead guitar for Ozzy Osbourne during his hit albums No Rest for the Wicked and No More Tears?
Well, that was the Zach era, right, Paul? Mm-hmm. Zach Wilde?
Very good. Zach Wilde.
Okay. He's a Jersey guy, so.
Yep.
Well, honestly, with that, I think you guys beat us. You guys actually best.
I have to say that this was super fun and way more challenging than I expected. Or way more competitive than I expected. I expected of us all to just like stump each other. So I actually think that was really fun. I think there were some good questions.
I think it was too. It was fun to actually then just discuss the whole question answer as a group and like, I have a tidbit about this, and did you know that? And so it's cool for us to find, you know, people in our lane and our age who like the same stuff and grew up, you know, really passionate about this music, and you know, there's a lot of us out there. So
we need to unite.
That's right. Yeah, no, it's and this is obviously one of those things that if we weren't already, you know, almost close to an hour and a half, it was that we definitely probably could be talking all night, and you know, and that's Craig's always been one of those a lot more down the rabbit hole, a lot more details than I was, so we would always talk about certain things, certain bands. And again, as we got a little bit older, we started to, as he mentioned, started off with, you know, growing up with his brother Kiss, and it got a little bit harder rock with AC/DC, and then a little bit more, and then we started kind of shifting a little bit more to a little bit more metal, and you know, but we'd still see, you know, bands, and you know, but it was an interesting time frame growing up in New Jersey, and
I bet
the music. So, and
it was an interesting time frame growing up in South Sioux City, Nebraska. There's no one that made it big from South Sioux City, Nebraska in terms of 80s metal.
No, it wasn't like definitely not 80s metal, but although there was a little bit of a scene that came out of that area, but
So
we just didn't have a John Bon Jovi that was our next door neighbor or anything like that. So,
did not.
You know.
That's how we were talking about the how they gave away the house. Did you move to Sayreville by that time when they gave away the house on MTV?
You know what? I don't remember. What I do remember, Paul, though, is that when Dave Sabo finally moved out of his mom's house, we actually stood there and watched them load up the moving truck.
Right.
Because your house like was what like backed up to
catty corner.
Yeah.
So I think, and they were just getting ready to pack up and head down to go record "Slave to the Grind."
Probably that timetable sounds right.
And that came out in 91. Yeah, summer of 91. About the same time the Metallica Black Album came out. Remember running, you know, that summer going to the music store to go, and I think it was before I just moved too. So it was.
I was gonna say because if you did your last year in Florida, that summer you would have moved to Florida.
Yeah. Well, we've got a whole lot more stuff we could probably share about our awkwardness of growing up and being in a band together, a fictional teenage boy band, of being real, obscene kind of things. And Craig does actually, he's a musician. He does have music on Bandcamp that he's got out there that he has produced and made. So, he's got a lot of interesting things going on there. So.
Very cool.
That was another result of the pandemic and being furloughed. It got me
people got so creative over the pandemic.
Actually, it was wild. I mean, 14 months. So like, you know, without going crazy, like, and I mean, Vegas was impacted because, you know, I think certain places can exist, but like Vegas is like what? Probably 90% tourist driven.
Oh yeah.
So like when you're not getting tourists, like it allowed me to be creative though, which is awesome. So I actually, in addition to some of the podcasting I did and some of the music I made, I actually edited 2 like fan videos. I did a complete history of the Ramones, which is about a 2-hour, like I call it like a midnight movie. It's definitely like you should put it on like at midnight and if you're drinking beers. And then I did another one on the Beach Boys in the 80s. The Beach Boys are one of my favorite bands. And the 80s is such a weird decade for them. And there's a lot more than Kokomo that went on. And those are both on Vimeo if you if you search them or if you care.
Very nice.
I do care, actually. I love the Beach Boys, and you're right. The '80s era of Beach Boys was very weird.
Yeah. I'll send Paul the link to my Vimeo page where that is.
Cool.
Yeah. It's been fun finding Beach Boys albums on vinyl. Actually, Tina, you'll probably get a kick out of this. I found like a early 70s reissue of Wild Honey and 2020 were like sold together as a double LP.
Oh wow.
So I was like super thrilled when I found that, because I'm like, I could get Wild Honey on vinyl and I could get 2020 on vinyl, but can I get them together with like really, really bad Surfer Girl artwork?
Yes.
So
Sure.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, and then the podcast there you've got going on, Craig, is the Last Action.
Yeah, actually, so kind of as a lark, I had started a career retrospective of Sylvester Stallone, where we were taking like a real serious critical look at his films, starting with his very first film. And I think we finally sort of tapped out when it started to get bad in the mid-90s, probably around Judge Dredd. But out of that experience, Paul, I connected with all these other podcasters who were sort of operating in the same lane. And we decided to sort of join forces, and we created this network called the Last of the Action Heroes Podcast Network, where you've got shows that are dedicated. There's, I think, 3 different shows just like in the Rocky universe, or Stallone universe. And then we've got people that are doing Schwarzenegger movies, Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, people that just focus on 80s action movies. So if you go to Last of the Action Heroes Podcast Network, you'll find new shows being released every week. And again, Paul, I'm not actively podcasting. I prefer to do these guest shots because it's a lot better.
Is this how you keep your podcast card with the union? You just
and it's also how I stay married too.
Oh, you guys didn't know about the podcast union?
Oh.
The one
benefits and all that.
Oh, sure. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. The one problem I have with when I like produce a podcast is I get like really, really like obsessive about the editing, and
we don't.
We don't at all. I slap on the intro, outro. It's different every fucking time. I don't even care. And we load it up and we send it off.
I love that. Unfortunately,
so if you ever want us to edit your podcast, just let us know.
Yeah, that's it.
I much prefer just coming on and doing guest shots like these. There's so much fun.
Maybe we'll have you guys on the A92A podcast, and we'll do like
a round 2.
You can be our guests.
Yeah, we got to do a round 2.
And we'll do a round 2, and trust me, we'll make those questions a lot fucking harder the next time.
You had some tough questions with that Ghazari club or whatever.
Somebody had actually said Ghazari's earlier in the conversation. That's why I thought it was a gimme. Like
I might have said it actually. I don't know if Dunn said it, but yeah.
I said, I just totally forgot that he actually had his own thing, and he wasn't like the guy who owned or ran the the whiskey or one of the clubs, Whiskey a Go-Go or the Rainbow. And then again, then it was a heavily
of Mario. Yeah, right. You're thinking of Mario, who was sort of known as the godfather of the strip. He had the Rainbow and the whiskey, but Bill Ghazari was a separate dude, much older dude who.
And it's funny to see Ricky Rackman in that, with a cat house and had his own, again pre Headbangers Ball. Ricky had his own thing
club
going
owner.
on. Yeah,
club owner. Yeah.
So
fast. Ricky Rockman was actually almost one of my trivia questions, and I think I'll save it for next time.
Oh,
we interviewed Ricky as well.
He was one of our first guests actually on our podcast. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So we just real quick, we'll wrap up. We got a Ricky Rackman story. As we had seen, we went to go see, and again, we started to, as we got a little older, started leaning a little bit more heavier, and went to see. I think I may have talked about this on the podcast. Megadeth and Anthrax and Slayer.
I saw that show.
The Clash of the Titans.
And who was the opener, Tina? Do you remember?
It might have been different for her.
Yeah, that's what I was just curious.
Yeah, I saw it out here at Universal Amphitheater. I don't remember who the.
So we had at that time, Headbangers Ball was, in 91, right? Because I think it was the last concert before I moved. And we were probably more interested in seeing the opener. And
Alice in Chains, yeah.
Alice in Chains, the original, lineup in Alice in Chains.
Oh, yeah.
And it was before really anyone, again, you have all these metalheads. And it was just weird is like, we look back now and say that line in that frame point, the moment in time when we saw the metal scene transition to the grunge scene, and it was almost like, here, we're going to put Alice in Chains on a bill with these metal god bands, and and it didn't go over very well because the metal fans were not Alice in Chains fans. But then
what's funny, Paul, I saw Alice in Chains open for two bands. You just referenced Clash of the Titans tour. I saw them open for another band where the reception wasn't good as well, and I can't remember if you were with that at that show with me, but they opened for Van Halen as well.
Oh, okay.
And Lane was like really, really like showing his disdain for the response he was getting from the audience. It was actually pretty wild. So it's crazy that like I saw them in two hostile opening act environments. But Paul, if you remember, that Clash of the Titans show was also pretty being in the tri-state area. We saw Anthrax do Bring the Noise with Chuck D and Flavor Flav.
Yep. Right. Which was huge, right? It was a huge song that summer that came out with Attack of the Killer Bees release that they put out there. And they were featured as because they rotated who was closing every night.
Oh, did they? It was either Megadeth or Anthrax. Because
obviously Anthrax was going to close because it was their home show. And they actually that was one of the episodes they covered on Headbangers Ball was that happened to be that show. I think they may have done like a 2-part show or series, but Ricky Rackman was out, and again, it was tough. Ricky Rackman was, got a lot of shit for whether people felt like he should be the face of metal or
it's better than Adam Curry.
Well, yeah, that's true.
But we loved Adam Curry also.
Adam Curry.
You can't hate on Adam Curry too much, right? Because he's seen as the godfather of podcasting, right?
Oh, he's an innovator, hands down, yeah.
So,
but I mean, like Ricky Rockman looked like us,
until he cut his hair.
Yeah,
we all did.
Again, like Tina, because Tina has a mohawk, so now he and Tina look alike.
Paul, thank you so much for putting us together.
It's growing out, Tina.
Yeah.
I'm kind of growing it out into like a pixie mullet, but I'm in this in between stage where I might just go shave it again. But yeah,
I dig the mohawk. I dig the mohawk. Yeah. So Paul's if you value my opinion,
I'll get sick of it at some point and just shave it again. So we'll see it again, I'm sure. But
right. All right. So as we wrap up here, Craig, any shameless plugs?
No. I mean, if you really are interested in listening to my music, you can find me on Bandcamp if you search Craig Cohen. I don't think there's anybody else that's released music on Bandcamp under that name, and it's very non-metal. It's instrumental, synth-based.
Is it like Duran Duran?
No, it's more it's more proggy, and it's been an adventure because I'm a guitar player, so like working with keyboards is very fun. So yeah, like I said, if you search, I can give you stuff for the show notes if you want, Paul. I can give you links. But that's really what I'm actively like spending most of my creative free time on when I'm not guesting on podcasts. So thank you for the invite, and it was so cool meeting you ladies.
Yeah, you as well.
Yeah. Erika, Tina, what shameless plugs, right?
Well, just listen to Ages 9 to Adult. That's our only shameless plug. You can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and everywhere you stream. And we have Instagram at A92A_life. And we're in all the places. So just look for us.
A92_life.
Yes.
Ages 9 to adult.
Ages 9 to adult. Yeah.
That's how long we've been together as friends.
Oh.
92 is also our high school graduation year.
So,
you know the whole intro.
I'm not going to finish it. It's the whole intro, yeah.
So, Craig, we're working on a board game here for them.
Yes, we want to do a life board game, an 80s metal life board game.
Oh, wow.
So, all right, there you go. You have somebody, venture capitalist there is going to help invest.
Perfect.
Oh, great. He just volunteered your money, I guess.
That's not my money. Yeah. So, all right. So as we
thank
wrap
you for
up
having
here,
us.
I'm going to let you hold on, girls. I'm going to let you close out the show here with your wrap up. I don't know, what do you call it? Your bumper saying, your logo here. So here it is. Let's wrap this up here, girls. Go for it.
Well, we went through a lot of our stuff, but we just want to say until next time, keep what? What am I saying?
Yes. Keep ratting those bangs and banging those heads.
There you go. Oh,
you forgot it. We say it every time.
Yes, I know. Like the simplest things we remember. So again, I appreciate you all for coming on there. So yeah, so stay tuned. Maybe round 2, we'll have to definitely set that up.
That's right. We'll host you on ours next time.
Excellent. So, all right. Thanks for all tuning in.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Guys.